Listen to this track. Over 1 billion streams on Spotify, a viral phenomenon on TikTok. The song is called Romantic Homicide. Its author, a 21-year-old alternative pop superstar performing under the name d4vd. To millions of Gen Z fans, David Anthony Burke was a musical genius, a sensitive, melancholic soul who made a fortune singing about heartbreak and emotional decay. But while his music filled stadium arenas, David was hiding a sinister double life. Investigators allege that the dark imagery in his lyrics wasn't just creative fiction, but a subconscious manifestation of a real-life pathology. In his breakthrough hit, David sings the chilling lines, "In the back of my mind, you died. In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it." The internet thought it was a brilliant poetic metaphor about moving on from a breakup. But in September 2025, reality collided with his lyrics in the most gruesome way imaginable. Inside the front trunk of David's abandoned Tesla, police discovered the heavily decomposed, dismembered remains of a 14-year-old runaway girl, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. When David appeared in a Los Angeles courtroom for his high-stakes preliminary hearings, criminologists noticed a terrifying case of affective flattening. Dressed in an orange jumpsuit, he sat completely motionless. His face was an unblinking robotic mask of complete psychological detachment, entirely devoid of human empathy, as prosecutors projected graphic photos of the mutilated corpse. Welcome back to Behind the Lie. Today, we are opening the master file on David Burke, aka d4vd. How did a multimillionaire pop star transition from figurative mental murder to literal forensic reality? Why did he order chainsaws on Amazon under a fake identity? And what dark secrets did his Hollywood garage hide? Let's look behind the lie. To understand the devastating pathology behind this crime, we must strip away the multi-million-dollar music industry apparatus and look at a toxic, hidden dynamic. In 2023, David Burke was an 18-year-old rising star, signing massive record deals. It was during this period that he established a secret relationship with a vulnerable minor, 13-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. David used his emerging fame, his wealth, and his status to groom the young girl, taking her to nightclubs using fake IDs and flying her across the country. But as Celeste turned 14, the power dynamic in their relationship shifted. Extremely upset by his relationship with other women, Celeste threatened to go public. She sent frantic text messages, explicitly telling David that she would expose him to the media to end his career and destroy his life. This threat triggered a phenomenon known as narcissistic mortification, an overwhelming, catastrophic terror of public exposure and a total loss of status. For a pop star whose first studio album, Withered, was set to be released just days later, the thought of being exposed as a child predator was worse than death. David's brain immediately switched from celebrity mode to cold, clinical liquidation. He didn't see a teenage girl begging for recognition. He saw a dangerous liability that needed to be erased to protect his $10 million empire. On April 23, 2025, David ordered a private Uber to bring Celeste to his Hollywood Hills rental home. The moment her phone connected to his Wi-Fi, it went permanently dead. It was the last time she was ever seen alive. The moment Celeste's phone went dead, David Burke's digital footprint shifted from music metrics to a literal manual for human liquidation. While the public believed the 14-year-old girl was just another runaway, the FBI was tracking David's private online transactions. Investigators uncovered a chilling series of Amazon orders placed under a fake identity, Travion Davis, using a clean prepaid credit card. This is what forensic psychology calls cyber premeditation with tactical concealment. David wasn't panicking. He was methodically gathering tools. Over the next 48 hours, his account purchased 2 high-powered electric chainsaws, industrial-grade body bags, a heavy-duty shovel, and a large inflatable children's pool. Let's analyze the sickening utility behind these items. Why would a multi-millionaire living alone in a Hollywood mansion buy a children's inflatable pool? Forensic experts revealed a terrifying answer during his preliminary hearing. David used the inflatable pool as a makeshift containment shield inside his garage. By placing the victim's body inside the inflated ring, he ensured that the massive volume of biological fluids and blood would be trapped in the plastic, preventing any traces from soaking into the concrete floor or alerting neighbors. He operated like a clinical scientist, trying to beat a forensic system he thought he understood, leaving his real-life horror blueprint embedded in Amazon's servers. But David Burke's dark imagination wasn't fed solely by financial panic. Forensic profilers often look at a suspect's cultural consumptions to track a process called psychological priming, where a person feeds their mind with specific violent imagery until the boundary between fiction and reality erodes. David was deeply obsessed with dark anime, specifically Tokyo Ghoul, a story about a student who morphs into a flesh-eating monster, forced to hide his horrific predatory identity behind a physical mask while living a normal life. In his private playlists and unreleased tracks, David constantly sampled soundtracks from iconic psychological horror films, weaving lines about shadows, physical mutilation, and blood containment into his lo-fi beats. To his fans, it was just edgy, aesthetic Gen Z subculture. But to a criminologist, David was experiencing a profound identity dissociation. He was romanticizing the lifestyle of a hidden ghoul, programming his subconscious to view the horrific act of dismemberment not as a crime, but as a cinematic, artistic necessity to keep his public celebrity mask pristine. In September 2025, the dark fantasy became a permanent forensic reality. Workers at a Hollywood tow yard reported a foul odor emanating from an impounded Tesla registered to David Burke. Inside the front trunk, police discovered the black body bags. Medical examiner Dr. Grant Ho testified during the preliminary hearing that Celeste's limbs had been cleanly amputated with a power tool, consistent with a chainsaw. Most chillingly, David had cleanly severed 2 fingers from her left hand, the exact fingers where the 14-year-old girl had a tattoo of his name, David. He was trying to erase her identity piece by piece. Look at David Burke's facial taxonomy during these graphic courtroom revelations. Dressed in orange, his jaw muscles remain completely unlocked, his hands rest calmly in heavy iron chains, and his eyes display an absolute absence of blinking response. This is the ultimate, terrifying hallmark of a psychopath experiencing emotional annihilation. He isn't experiencing terror or shame. He is completely hollow, observing his victim's graphic autopsy photos with the same dry, academic detachment he used to mix his lo-fi tracks. David Burke pleaded not guilty, and his defense team is fiercely fighting for a dismissal, claiming the evidence is circumstantial. But as the judge weighs the probable cause this week, one thing is certain: the boy who sang about romantic homicide is now the permanent specimen of a real-life horror story. Drop your comments below. Do you see a remorseless monster or a victim of a massive industry setup? Thank you for watching Behind the Lie. Stay vigilant.